Welcome back to my workshop. Now, my name is Frank Williams. This is my workshop, but again, today we're going to be doing something for the garden. Now, obviously summer's approaching and my lawn is in a right mess. I'll show you in a second how bad it is. But what I need to do is I need to aerate the grass. Now, I haven't got an aerator, okay, so which is a machine that prods loads of holes in the grass to allow for better moisture, etc. So what I've decided to do is make a pair of Aerator shoes, like these ones, okay? Yes, I could just go out and buy some, but where's the fun in that? I'm going to make a pair that I can use and hopefully use for the next few years. So I want to make them properly. Okay, let me show you the lawn and I'll show you how bad it is. Right, for those of you that watch my channel, you would have seen I've just put up a load of string lights around here, which has made the garden look better at night, but during the day the grass looks terrible. Okay, if we look here now, I've just put some weed killer and stuff on the grass, and it's very mossy. I managed to get a lot of the moss up, but it's really patchy. I mean, look, it's a bit of green over there, but this bit here is pretty much dead, and the whole grass itself, okay, it's quite compact, and there's a cat. Okay, so it's quite compact, but what I need to do is prick loads of little holes in it, and then I'm going to reseed it, and hopefully it will be lush and green. So let's get back in the workshop and try and figure out how I'm going to make these things. That's my oak tree going to cop it. Right, so because this is my workshop, I tend to like to make things so they don't actually cost me anything. So I've rummaged through all my bits and pieces. I've got a piece of wood, I've got one of them, I've got some of them, and I've got the contents of that. Now out of that, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to make a pair of shoes. So let's have a look at these bits and pieces I've got, and I'll explain why it's not really going to cost me much. So I've had a good old rummage around the workshop, and I found some bits and pieces. First of all is this, which is a piece of 20mm ply. I thought I'd use ply because it might be a bit more stable. But it's quite a rubbish piece of ply. We'll see how we get on. I can always change it later on. That didn't cost me anything. Right, I've got two of these, which I'm going to use as straps. Okay, these are just these, you know, basically ratchet type straps, but they're the cheapy ones. I think I got a couple of these from like the pound shop. So that's £1. It's cost me £1 so far. Oh my God. Right, I've got loads of these brackets, which I may or may not use. Okay, these are from, yeah, these are from Aldi's. I think there was a pack for, I don't know, £2 maybe. So far, £3. Okay, and then finally, for spikes, what I'm going to use is something I've already got. If I can get the box open, I'm going to use these. Okay, these are an Allen key type of fixing. Okay, they're threaded all the way, so I'm going to have to make that into a spike. But I'm also going to use these inserts. So at any point, if the spikes break for any reason, I can actually change them. Okay, so that's everything I need. And so far it's cost me £3. Okay, but it's going to take me ages to make them. So let's get moving on. And the first thing I've got to do is cut out the bottom. So what I basically need is I need a foot shape. So yeah, there should be enough there. To make life easy, let's take my shoe off. Okay, I'm just going to draw around the shoe and leave myself a little bit of room around the outside. Okay, so just using a Sharpie, I'll draw the shoe shape. Okay, and then I'll probably go about 10mm or so bigger than this. Oh, make sure I've got enough. Okay, so there's my shoe shape. It doesn't need to be there. Oh, something like that. Okay, what I'll do is I'll cut one out and then I'll draw around it and flip it over for the other side. Now, can I put my shoe back on because it's cold in the workshop? Right, it's going to be the roughest cut in the world. Let's get it on the sander and then we'll make the other one. Right, so we've got our first foot here. It's a bit rough and ready. Obviously I cut it with a jigsaw, it's plywood, it chips. We can sand that in a minute. Now I've got this one and it's relatively smooth around the edges. I'll draw around this one and then cut the second one. It's the same thing, so I won't show you it again. Next thing you'll see, I'll have two of these. Right, so I've got my bases. So the very next thing to do is clean this sawdust up because it's everywhere. Right, let me do that. Right, the next bit is to decide where the spikes are going to go. I probably want about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 13, 12 or 13. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of equally space them. There. One back here, one here, one here, one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One for luck. 13. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll drill pilot holes in this and then transfer those onto this one. Okay, so small pilot, probably 3mm pilot hole drill. Let's go. Right, probably a good idea at this point to label these. So this is how we're going to wear them. So this is the right, this is the left. I'll write on here, this is the right and this is the left. So I know that's the top. Okay, now obviously these are going to go through from the top. So I want to recess this head. Okay, and all I'm going to do is recess it a little bit using one of these spade bits, which is just a little bit bigger. Okay, I only want to go down a couple of mil just to recess it. So let's get back on the drill press and recess a couple of these. Right, that's all my little recesses done. So they should be deep enough, hopefully, but when I tighten them up, that'll be fine. This is looking very rough at the moment, but you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. Now, the bolt's going through the top, okay? Obviously, they won't go through at the moment because my pilot hole is too small. But that does mean that these inserts have got to go in through the bottom, okay? Now, for these inserts, I need to drill about an 8mm hole. Okay, about an 8mm hole. So I'm going to follow through my pilot holes with an 8mm drill and then insert these from the bottom. Right, so to put the inserts in, what we're going to do is turn it over. We now know our holes are 8mm. We're going to insert these. Now in theory they should cut their own thread. I'm going to use a little driver here with a 6mm Allen key in it. And it should just be a case of like that. Okay, so I just got to carry on doing that. Right, so that's all the inserts in this one. Let's do the other one. Right, that's all the inserts in. So now the idea is that these bolts go through the other side. Okay, they go all the way in. Let's just wind that in. Okay, so that's flush, and then you got your spike on the bottom. What we need to do now is turn these into spikes and not just threads. How am I going to do that? Right, you're probably all screaming at your screens now saying, what are you doing? Right, I've got 26 of these to do. So I decided to find a quick method, and my method is make this little boss with the thread in the middle, and literally each stud I thread into here, which takes a couple of seconds. Okay, so once I've got it in like this, I can stick this in the lathe, I can spin it up and attack it with the angle grinder, and I'll turn this into one of these. Okay, it's a bit unorthodox, it's a bit dangerous. I've taken all the precautions I can, but because I've got so many of these to do, I can change over in about 30 seconds so I can get them all done. Right, you don't need to watch that though, because I'm going to make all those and then show you the end result. Right, so that's all my spikes done now. Now, I can't stress this enough. Don't try anything like that unless you're fully aware of all of the risks. I've done this all at my own risk. It's my responsibility. It's my workshop. It's my rules. But I wouldn't recommend doing it like that. If you want to do these another way, please do it the other way. Okay, that way is not the safest. But these are done now, so let's shove these in one of the shoes. Right, so these are now looking like something a mountaineer would use. They're pretty deadly at the moment, so be careful with these, they're sharp. Okay, what I've got to do now is figure out how I'm going to use this. Now, I've only got one strap per shoe. Okay, so I've got to find a way of supporting the front of your toe and around your ankle, maybe, just to hold it in place. So let me do some experiments. I might take the spikes back out of one of these, because they're a bit sharp. Let's try that. Right, it's the next day now. I've spent absolutely hours figuring out how to use these to act as a strap to go around your foot. And it looked like it was going to be a bit difficult. I couldn't get enough support, so when you lift your foot up, it digs into the floor. So I abandoned that idea. Then I thought, I know, I'll just use some rope. I've got this paracord. I was going to drill a load of holes around the side and then do laces, but that would have just been a pain to put on and a bit useless. So then I thought I'd try the flip-flop approach, and I've got some of this, which is just rubber. It's actually from rubber roofing. It's quite stretchy. I was going to have a bit across the front here, so you just slide your foot in and then do that, but then you haven't got any support on your heel. Anyway, long story short, all of that was too much mucking about. This is supposed to be a quick 5-minute fix. So what I've decided to do is use these. Now, it's an old pair of trainers that I don't use anymore. Got quite a solid bottom. So I'm going to put those on there. I'm going to screw into them. So then when I lift my foot up, I'm supported all round. It lifts my ankle, lifts my feet. That's the solution. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. But what I want to do first is actually give these a bit of a sand down. So I'm going to take these spikes out of this one, sand both of these down, might even give them a spray of paint, and then screw these to the top. Right, so let me do that. Right, so these are now actually made. They look ridiculous. They're not going to win any fashion shows. But the proof of the pudding is, do they actually work? So what we're going to do is, hopefully it's still bright outside. We're going to go outside, put these on and trample around the garden. Right, it's typical. It's now getting dark. So I've got to hurry up. Let's quickly undo these so I can get my feet in it. Now, obviously you don't want to put these on while you're on the path because you're not going to be able to walk in them. Well, my foot's already sunk into the ground, so they obviously work. Right. Oh. Oh. Look at that. Oh my goodness. They only actually work. Right, don't tread on your own feet. Right, because it's too dark, the first bit of video went a bit wrong. I've now got them on and it feels like you're walking through a boggy field. But these work a treat. There's obviously a technique to using them. So, I think tomorrow, when it's bright, I'm going to come out here and do the whole of the garden. But they are the nuts. Careful, you turn around. We did it. Right, so that's just about it. Now these things work an absolute treat. I've only tried them briefly in the garden. The light's a bit dim at the moment. I'll try and get some more video of me walking around tomorrow when it's a bit brighter. But these things are excellent. Even Mrs. Little Workshop had a go and she thought they were actually funny. So yeah, I know I could have gone out and bought a pair for £8, but where's the fun in that? What would you learn just by going out and buying them? Yeah, so I shall use these for the garden this time, put them in the shed, and then next time I want to do it, I've got a pair of aerators. All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video and I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. So let me do that.